Hey guys, let me ask you something. If a guy told you his family business has been running smoothly for 5,000 years through wars, invasions, regime changes, mass starvation, total cultural resets, and literal genocide, would you believe him? I don't think so. But somehow, when the Chinese Communist Party says China has 5,000 years of unbroken civilization, millions of people nod and say, wow, amazing. Well, today I'm here to tear that myth apart because this isn't just a bad take on history. It is the biggest lie propping up a regime built on ruins and cosplay. Let's get one thing straight. Civilization is not the same as history. Yes, the land we now call China has 5,000 years of history. But civilization? That means something else. It's not about ancient teapots or some dusty bronze tripod you saw in a museum. Civilization is about values, rational institutions, intellectual freedom, a functioning moral core. A civilization tolerates dissent. It protects truth. And when that core dies, even if all the buildings are still standing, even if you've got temples and ceremonial hats, you don't have civilization anymore. You've got memory, but no meaning. And you want to know when that happened to China? It started with a deer. There's an old story from the Qin Dynasty known in Chinese as 指鹿为马, meaning point at a deer and call it a horse. One day, a power-hungry official named Cao Gao brings a deer to the emperor and says, "Behold, a fine horse." Now, some ministers nod nervously. Yeah, a horse, obviously. Others blink and go, "Wait, my guy, that is a deer, not a horse." Guess what happened to the ones who told the truth? Executed. From that moment on, reality stopped mattering. Power rewrote truth, and everyone learned to lie in order to survive. It wasn't a glitch. It was the new software update. The Qin Dynasty didn't unify Chinese civilization. It steamrolled it. Now, here's the part the CCP really doesn't want you to remember. The golden age of Chinese civilization happened when China wasn't even unified. That's right, the Spring and Autumn and Warring States period, 春秋战国, more than 2,000 years ago, was messy, chaotic, and downright bloody. 7 major states, dozens of minor ones, no central authority, non-stop warfare. Basically Game of Thrones, Eastern Edition. But it was intellectually glorious, the golden age of ideas. This was when Confucius taught about virtue and harmony. Lao Tzu wrote the Tao Te Ching and told everyone to chill out and follow the Tao. Mencius explored human nature. Mozi, Zhuangzi, Hanfeizi, all debating what makes a just society. You had competing schools of thought, open debate, pluralism. It was messy, it was vibrant, it was civilized. And then came the Qin Dynasty, which for the first time unified the entire China. And what was their first move? 焚书坑儒. Burn the books, bury the scholars, outlaw every philosophy that wasn't obey the emperor. Debate replaced with dogma. Truth replaced with fear. Unity came at the cost of civilization. And for the next 2,000 years, the script didn't really change. One emperor, one ideology, obey or die. People love to romanticize the Tang Dynasty like it was some utopia of silk and poetry. And yes, it had great poets, great trade, culture booming, until it didn't. Because you know what else the Tang Dynasty had? Court intrigue so messy, it makes succession look like Sesame Street. Warlords carving up the empire like leftover duck, and Anlu-San rebellion, a civil war so massive it killed 40 million people, entire provinces wiped off the map. But sure, golden age. Just don't scratch the surface too hard, or you will find a mountain of bones. Now let's talk about the two dynasties the CCP wants you to think were just ethnically diverse chapters in China's glorious history: the Yuan and Qin Dynasty. Spoiler alert, they weren't Chinese. They were foreign occupiers who ruled China like it was a trophy they won in a raid. First up, the Mongols. In 1271, Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis freaking Khan, declared himself emperor of the Yuan dynasty. But he didn't become Chinese. He made China Mongol. Mongols were at the top. Han Chinese were at the bottom. The legal system was straight up racially tiered. You couldn't bear arms, couldn't marry a Mongol, couldn't even ride a horse unless you were elite enough. This wasn't inclusion. This was pure foreign occupation. Now, the Manchus. Fast forward to 1644. The Manchus swept in from the northeast and conquered Beijing. Different language, different customs, different worldview. They made Han Chinese shave their foreheads and wear a long braid, a queue, as a sign of submission. They ruled through censorship and fear. Many Chinese traditions and ideals were stomped into the dirt. But somehow we are still told the Qin Dynasty was just another chapter of glorious Chinese civilization. No, it was ruled by the outsiders for more than 200 years. And just when you think Chinese civilization might claw its way back, we hit 1949. Enter the Chinese Communist Party. And what is their first move? A little something called the Cultural Revolution, which sounds like a music festival, but was actually a national meltdown. From 1966 to 1976, Confucius temples demolished, Buddhist monasteries smashed, Taoist priests beaten in the streets, ancient texts burned by the truckload, teachers and scholars tortured or killed. And we are supposed to believe this regime is now the guardian of 5,000 years of culture? No. The party didn't inherit Chinese civilization. It butchered it and then claimed the corpse. Today, they parade around in Hanfu robes, build Confucius statues, host tea ceremonies, and slap traditional values on state propaganda. But don't be fooled. The real Confucius would have been purged. The real Lao Tzu would have been jailed. The real Mencius would have been cancelled for spreading democratic Western idealism. This isn't tradition. It's a deer dressed up as a horse, just like Cao Gao planned it. So why push this myth? Because it's politically convenient. If you convince people you're the heir to 5,000 years of greatness, you don't need elections, consent, or even competence. You just say, we are China, we're great. And the lie becomes law. But let me say this clearly. The CCP is not China. And modern China is not nowhere near the level of ancient civilization. It's a dictatorship sitting on top of stolen ruins and burned books. China has 5,000 years of history, absolutely. But 5,000 years of unbroken civilization? That ended a long time ago with books being burned, philosophers murdered, foreign emperors, and ideological purges. Civilization is about truth, ethics, freedom of thought. And when you kill those things, it doesn't matter how old your country is, you're not civilized. So don't be fooled by the temples, the incense, or the dragon costumes. Sometimes the most dangerous lie is the one wearing silk robes and quoting Confucius while rewriting him. If you're tired of fake history and real lies, hit that like button, subscribe for more unfiltered truths. Because if we don't call out these myths, we'll be living in a world where deer are horses, lies are truths, and tyranny is tradition. And I'm not buying it. Are you?